What's up, guys? This is going to be my thoughts video on Nioh 2. I'm actually doing it a couple days after I've beaten the game here. Kind of forgot to do it the day I beat it. But Nioh 2 is amazing. I'm just going to start off by saying that. Played it on the PlayStation 4 Pro. The game was phenomenal. It was running absolutely incredible. It actually wasn't until I started playing the FF7 remake that I didn't really appreciate the fact that it was in higher FPS. So that's incredible. Nioh 2 is basically Nioh 1, but better. It has all the mechanics from Nioh 1, except more. Basically what they did is they took the living weapon from Nioh 1, and now in Nioh 2, instead of living weapon, you have yokai shift. You transform into a yokai yourself, and you can basically absorb skills of the other demons that you kill throughout the game, and you can have let's see, you start off with 2, and then I ended up having 3. I don't know if you end up getting more if you beat the game further in New Game Plus or not, because I didn't go to New Game Plus. But I do like how they do that. Because New Game Plus isn't necessarily a New Game Plus. You can still do the old stuff and the new stuff. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Nioh 2 is basically Nioh 1, but better. Everything that Nioh 1 had, except more in depth, which is really cool. So everything, if you love Nioh 1, you'll love Nioh 2. If you hated Nioh 1, you ain't gonna like this game either. Same formula, mission-based, Diablo-style loot. Combat is pretty fast-paced. A lot of people like to originally compare it to Dark Souls. It's not really a Souls game. The combat is a lot more intricate, I think, than Dark Souls because it's more fast. But yeah, you have key pulsing. You have to worry about managing your key drastically. There's of every weapon type. There's also 3 stances. So if you don't stance dance, which I never did, I just used high stance. I started off the playthrough about halfway through. I used the switchglaive, which was really cool because it's a new weapon type and it's scaled off of magic. But I ended up having a lot of difficulty, so I ended up switching to the axe. I wanted to switch to using axe and Odachi, but I ended up having a set that was just too good with the axe. So I just ended up running double axe, different element imbued based on what I was fighting. Everything about Nioh's great, man. It's a phenomenal game. There's not really much to say about it because it's Nioh 1. It's Nioh 1, but better. The game is a prequel to the original. At least that's what they tell you, before you buy the game. They say it's a prequel. So it's a prequel. But, yeah. I didn't really follow the story that well. I tried to, but sometimes it was a little confusing because it wasn't until about halfway through the game that I started actually reading all of the text before each mission, because that's not voiced. All the character interactions are voiced and all the missions and stuff, but there's a blurb before each mission, and there's also a blurb after each mission. And that stuff is not voiced, and I didn't start reading until about halfway through the game, maybe even a little later. I think I was already using the axe. And there was definitely cutscenes where I'm like, what the hell is going on? I kind of like put the pieces together and I kind of figured out what was going on towards the end. So that was good, but yeah, it's a Japanese game with like a anime-ish style story, but gritty. I enjoyed it. Combat's fluid. Menus are really fluid. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like really any difference between this game and Nioh 1 outside of, instead of living weapon, you have yokai shift. Well, I guess there's the burst countering mechanic. That is a new thing that is unrelated to the yokai shift. You can do it while you're yokai shift, but so a lot of monsters or enemies, it doesn't matter if they're demon or human, they have their burst attacks. You'll see a big red flash on the screen, and then that's letting you know that they're going to do a big attack, and you need to counter the attack. The only thing that gets a little tricky is I picked this up really quickly, whereas if you watch somebody like JP, it took him a little while to pick it up, but because he was dodging a lot rather than trying to burst counter. But it still took me a little while to figure this out. You're not supposed to burst counter the moment you see the red flash. You burst counter when the attack is going to hit you. The flash is just to let you know that there's an attack coming. It's coming, and then you still got to watch for it. And the attack and so the counter timing is different on every single monster because they do a different attack. Some of them do have like a really slow wind up, and some of them do multiple attacks, so you can actually burst counter at any point in their attack chain, which is kind of nice. But burst countering is really good because it really hits the enemy key massively. Some monsters it'll just insta drain their whole key bar, some won't. Another thing that I should mention is that the skill system looks very different, even though it's actually very similar. It's very, very similar, even though it looks like a Path of Exile skill tree. It is actually very similar to Nioh 1. They decided to change the visualization of it. And of course there's a skill tree for Yokai Shift now, which is pretty cool. Yeah, other than that, it's an amazing game. It's absolutely incredible. If it wasn't for the fact that 7 was coming out, this might be one of my favorite games of the year. But I'm already enjoying the 7 remake quite a bit. But that's not to take away from Nioh 2. So, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully this was able to help you out. I know it's a shorter video for a Thoughts video, but I mean, it's basically Nioh 1, but better. It's an improved version of Nioh 1. That's all it is. It's that simple. If you liked Nioh 1, you'll like this game. If you didn't like Nioh 1, you're not going to like this game. Alright guys, catch you next time, and take care.